Our party succeeded at the risk of life and limb in taking about 1,000 feet of moving pictures. In spite of the fact that Galveston was under martial law, they were shooting photographers. Hide that. Okay. Yep. All right. One thing I know I take for granted is being able to use my phone to take virtually an unlimited amount of video. And since I take hours of video every week here in Galveston, Texas, I thought we should explore some of the first film ever recorded in the state of Texas, right here in Galveston. Some of the oldest footage in the world. The video was taken in the aftermath of the 1900 storm, just days after the Category 4 hurricane slammed into Galveston Island. And who do we have to thank for this historic film? Thomas Edison. Let's get into it. Welcome to Galveston Unscripted. Thank you to our video sponsor, The Daily News, Texas' oldest newspaper, bringing you the news since 1842. Support your local newspaper, The Daily News. Before we get to Galveston, let's lay out the context. Thomas Edison, the American inventor, was born in 1847 and known for all types of inventions. At the time of his death in 1931, he had patented over 1,093 inventions. He is probably most known for pioneering the light bulb, as well as one of the first electrical utility systems. But he also held patents in the area of sound recording and motion picture. As early as 1888, Thomas Edison began building a team to take the leap from photography to moving film. He stated, "I am experimenting upon an instrument which does for the eye what the phonograph does for the ear, which is recording and reproduction of things in motion." And through the 1890s, Edison and his assistants quite literally invented the movies. Edison capitalized on his invention by selling viewings of his films through a coin-operated device called a kinetoscope. However, this was very different than going to the movies today. The kinetoscope would be set up in a storefront, and people would pay to take a peep at a short reel of film, usually depicting what can be best described as circus acts. Eager customers who had never seen a film before would pay to look at a peephole at a moving film strip containing consecutive images, and the film strip advanced at a rate of 46 images per second, simulating motion. By 1896, Edison's team began traveling and filming what they called actualities, films depicting major events across the globe, to sell kinetoscope viewings. These actualities included events such as presidential funerals, the 1906 San Francisco earthquake, the 1899 Filipino-American War, and the aftermath of the Great Storm of 1900, right here in Galveston. I swear you can tie everything back to this place. For those who are not familiar with the Great Storm of 1900 that brought absolute devastation to this island, here's a little bit of context. Prior to the storm of 1900, Galveston served as a bustling port town and the second largest entry port for immigrants to the U.S. Galveston was one of the most populous cities in Texas, with a population of 38,000. Due to a series of unfortunate political communication issues and a lack of an advance warning system, Galveston residents were left extremely vulnerable to the Category 4 hurricane that was about to slam into the island. On September 8, 1900, the massive storm struck Galveston Island, and with the highest elevation of only 8 feet above sea level, the hurricane storm surge inundated the island, and the powerful wind collapsed homes and buildings. Over 6,000 people were killed during the storm, and over 2/3 of the city's buildings were destroyed. To this day, the 1900 storm remains as the deadliest natural disaster in United States history. And this is where some of the earliest footage of Galveston and Texas comes in. As soon as the news circulated across the United States, Thomas Edison sent a team down to Galveston, Texas. In the weeks after the storm and during the cleanup and recovery effort, the city was under martial law and was severely undersupplied. The only bridge to the mainland was completely destroyed during the hurricane. The citizens lacked water, food, and any other supplies. And in the scorching heat, with no water or food, all able-bodied men were required to work during the cleanup and recovery effort. Edison's team made their way from the northeast by train down to Houston and as close to Galveston Island as they possibly could, and essentially snuck onto the island with camera equipment. Now, Thomas Edison was not with the film group, but here is what one assistant had to say about sneaking onto Galveston Island to capture this film for Edison's Actualities. At the first news of the disaster by cyclone and tidal wave that devastated Galveston on Saturday, September 8th, 1900, we equipped a party of photographers and sent them by special train to the scene of the ruins. Arriving at the scene of desolation shortly after the storm had swept over the city, Our party succeeded, at the risk of life and limb, in taking about 1,000 feet of moving pictures, in spite of the fact that Galveston was under martial law and that the photographers were shot down at the site by excited police guards. A very wide range of subject has been secured. The series, taken as a whole, will give the entire world a definite idea of the terrible disaster, unequaled since the Johnstown flood of 1889. They were shooting photographers. Hide that. Okay. Yep. All right. So, between September 11th and 19th of 1900, this group of photographers captured the most fascinating footage. 124 years ago, all of the film we're about to take a look at of the disaster and recovery effort of Galveston Island is available on the Library of Congress website, as well as the Texas Archive of Moving Image, which I have linked in the description. So feel free to visit those websites and take a look at this historic footage. The footage taken here in Galveston in 1900 was taken using one of the 4 cameras in existence at the time. And as fascinating as this footage is, it was going to be used to make a profit for Thomas Edison's company, where it would only be used in his kinetoscope enterprise in the Northeast. I'll do my best to identify the exact locations of where this footage was taken, but some of the footage taken near the port is really difficult to identify. So if you can pinpoint the exact location the footage was taken, please let me know in the comments. The first bit of footage we're going to take a look at is named Panoramic View of the Tremont Hotel, although it's a little bit misleading as we can only slightly see the Tremont House Hotel. This footage was taken from the southwest corner of Church Street and 24th. The next bit of footage we're going to take a look at is named Launching a Stranded Schooner from the Docks. I do not know the exact location, but it's safe to say it's at the port. The next reel we'll take a look at is named Bird's Eye View of Dockfront. And again, on this one, I'm not sure exactly where it was taken from, but it's safe to say it was near the port. And next we have panorama of wreckage of Waterfront, again somewhere at the port. The next one we're going to look at is named Panorama of the Orphans Home. This is the location of the modern-day Bryan Museum, along 21st Street, in between Avenue M and Avenue N. Up next, we have Panorama of Galveston Powerhouse. This film was taken at 20th Street and Sealy Avenue, depicting the devastation of one of the state's first power plants right here in Galveston. If you look closely, you can see the steeples of St. Mary's Basilica in the background. The next one is named Panorama of East Galveston. This video seems to have been taken somewhere between 12th and 13th Street along Broadway. In the background, we can see Bishop's Palace and the almost completely destroyed Sacred Heart Church. And finally, the last video I was able to find on the Library of Congress website, searching ruins on Broadway for dead bodies. This film, unlike the others, is not a panoramic view, but rather a shot right at the men sifting and searching for bodies along Broadway. This video was taken right in front of Sacred Heart Church with Bishop's Palace in the background. This one, to me, feels the most real. These men have been working and searching for days, some of them even at gunpoint. They're dehydrated, they're hungry, they've lost loved ones, they've lost friends during the storm, and they're working, possibly finding the bodies of people they know. In this final film, taken by Edison's assistant without sound, I've done my best to recreate what it may have sounded like while searching for dead bodies along Broadway after the nation's deadliest natural disaster, right here in Galveston, Texas.